was wondering, do you think that having the time to have that split between management and engineering was very helpful to you as like a kickstart? And do you think that that's also something that students should consider, whether they are STEM or humanities based or business based, to kind of look at the other side as well, not just one side?
I think so. I think if you can get a range of experiences, and I know, one of the questions you have is just on leadership as well, like as many sort of perspectives as you can develop, either through your own eyes or through your network, I think becomes important, right? I find that is invaluable to me. I don't have the answers to every question, but I've got a contact list that can help me navigate some of the complexity that I see, through my professional career. So I think if you can get a good grounding that is broad, I think that would help you. My philosophy was try to keep as many doors open as possible, because you're still early in your career, and for you to have a line of sight of where you think you need to be for the rest of your working life. I didn't have that 2020 vision, right? I could not have predicted it. So I just said, look, I'm going to keep the engineering door open. I'm going to do some more business stuff. I'll do some auditing. I'll get another qualification. And if I wanted to come back into engineering, I felt that door was always open for me. So it was more of a hedge on my part that actually I'm creating more doors of opportunity than just having the one that would have been purely down an engineering track.
So would you suggest then, for someone who's looking at their first job, to think about it as, what opportunities can this open up for me over the next 1 to 2 years, in a sense?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, everybody's different. I feel that if you've got strong conviction over where you want to spend your working life, and there's a discipline that is of interest to you, and you're going to be unwavering, then obviously go pursue it if that's what's going to make you happy and you get enjoyment out of that. For me, it was different. I mean, I didn't feel that I sort of was into engineering, electrical engineering, but once I got into industry and started working at Jaguar, it was slightly different, right, in terms of the reality of working in a design office compared to what I'd done in my studies. And it was very hierarchical. So obviously I'm the new guy that's come in, and it was very much a pyramid shape. And so my ability really to move up in that organization was predicated by somebody leaving, in effect, right? And so, for me, I felt would stymie my progression. And I wanted to move quicker than that. I wanted to experience more. I wanted to see more. And so therefore the opportunity within accountancy to just see different businesses and understand different technologies and industries and how they operated, I felt would have been invaluable for me, with the sort of vision of being a senior finance professional then at that point, where I've got a broad range of experience and I've worked with people of different expertise and levels that I could sort of lean on.
Do you think kind of getting that engagement and being comfortable enough, I guess, to take that risk and ask that question, right? So it's not just, it's kind of feeling comfortable in your own skin to be able to ask that question, put yourself out there, and make sure that the team knows about your idea or concern, in a sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think when somebody new joins, I would expect them to be asking a lot of questions, and it's good because you're in that sort of honeymoon period still, where everything's new to you. You're learning the work, you're learning your sort of teammates and how they operate, and so that is the time when you should ask, right, about why you're doing things a certain way, not sort of a couple of years down the track, because obviously people then say, well, you've been, why are you asking me now? You've been here a couple of years. Like, we would have expected those questions to have arisen maybe earlier on in your tenure, right? So I think there's a period of time, maybe it's 6 months or whatever, I can't sort of bookend the time on it, but where all questions are open. Like, you should be vocal, and as long as you do it in a professional way, and it's through the lens of trying to improve things or understand something, I think that is empowering for the individual, right? So if you ask a question because you didn't know, hopefully you get a response, and now you know, right? And people say knowledge is power within an organization. So obviously the more knowledge you can sort of harvest and operate and use, will only enhance your stature within an organization and your value within an organization as well. So I feel that's important, to be inquisitive, to ask the questions, the right questions, and not to sort of challenge everything, but obviously if things don't make sense, is to ensure that it does make sense for you.
Obviously, accountancy is evolving. So for a young professional, or even someone that would be interested in potentially working at Block in the accountancy space, where do you see that role, or where do you think that accountancy students need to evolve in order to be ready for kind of this new world that blends tech with the traditional practice?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's a good point. And I sort of messaged this to my team as well, especially the new folks coming in. So look, when I started my career many decades ago, it was a very different industry, right? We were still using large pieces of paper and pencils, right, to do our work. And so we've evolved a lot through those times. The discipline, other than the technical aspect of the job, right, in terms of having an accountancy qualification, which obviously I would say a table stakes if you want to move up in your career and be an accountant, is your adeptness at using the technology, right? So there's a lot of tools out there that we are now starting to use, or the generation that's coming through that is using, that is actually allowing them to do more with less, right? And so whether we're using robotics or artificial intelligence, whether we're using certain tools like Ultrix or UiPath, that is really automating a lot of the manual processes, or a lot of the standardized processes that we do, week to week, day to day, month to month. And so it's teasing those opportunities out and applying the right technology and automation that actually frees people up to do work that is more meaningful to them, right? That is more technical, that has more impact, rather than being bogged down. So I think that is the inflection point that we currently are at, of looking for those opportunities and applying the right technology and automating as much as we can. And so a key part of the role going forward is how individual accountants can be adept at using those tools, right? I think that's going to really influence how successful they're going to be in the accounting profession for the next 10, 20 years.